All right, looks like we're live. Hello, everybody. My name is Dave Cohen. I am a director over here at Level Up Consulting Partners. Hope everybody's doing well on this Thursday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Very happy to be with you today for just a few minutes. We are hosting this program because we wanted to share with you a topic that we talk a lot about, or kind of passionate about, and comes up all the time as one of the keys to success in running a solid and effective privacy program, and that is putting together a good governance structure. My colleague Wills Catling is hopefully going to be joining me in a little bit. He seems to be tied up, but when he comes on, he'll add his insights as well. But we decided to just go ahead and get started here. And I've got a couple things I wanted to talk to you all about. We want this to be an interactive session. So if you have questions, if you're out there and you're hopefully in the midst of setting up a program and have some questions, put them in the chat and I'll do my best to try to get to them. Otherwise, we're going to touch on a number of issues that we hope will provide some help and some guidance if you're getting started with this effort of setting up a governance structure, or if you have one set up but you're interested in figuring out how to make it a little bit more effective. So one of the first things I wanted to kind of just set the stage with, for those of you that are fairly new, if you're working within your organization and you've been tasked or tapped to handle personal information management, regardless of what department you sit in and who you report to, as you've probably discovered even early on, privacy is a team sport. You can't do it all yourself. You're absolutely reliant on others, other key players in your organization to be able to get your job done. And that is because personal information flows throughout the organization. So you're going to need to establish relationships, strong working relationships with key people in the marketing team. Primarily, they deal with a lot of PI. The legal team, the IT systems team are probably the three biggest connections that you're going to want to have. The HR team as well for employee data, of course. And a lot of companies look for what they call privacy champions. And a privacy champion may well be the head of that functional team, but it might not be. It could be somebody else at a management level that just really gets how important it is to be good stewards of personal information within the organization. So it could be a marketing manager who just really feels strongly about protecting customer data, and the fact that you don't want to collect more than you need, and you want to have a nice retention schedule, and you want to be constantly looking and managing consents in an appropriate and an effective way, being in legal compliance with all of the various US state laws, GDPR, et cetera, for how information needs to be managed, how customers or citizens need to have access to it, et cetera. So looking for these privacy managers, identifying them on these key operational teams of, again, marketing, legal, IT, human resources is really an important first step in terms of setting up a good governance structure within your organization. And then once you've kind of identified those people and set up some kind of a cadence for meeting with them, and that's often called a privacy committee. A lot of companies we work with as our clients like to set up privacy committees or privacy governance committees on either a quarterly, or, which is a little too far apart, in my opinion, maybe monthly or even bi-weekly is a good idea. And then when you set up these meetings and get that cadence going, and then you meet with these key privacy champions, really what you're discussing are the current and future uses of personal information within your organization. So current uses are, a good foundation place, a good place to start. What are the IT systems that are housing PI? How's it being collected? Identifying all the collection points where personal information comes into the organization. Who are the key people that are managing those collection points and those storage IT assets? And importantly, what are the business processes that are being used that are utilizing that personal information? and then kind of mapping that out. That's often called a data mapping exercise or a information mapping exercise. The other key thing that these privacy champions within these functional teams can do, can help you with, is awareness, privacy awareness within the organization. And that is making everybody on the front lines who handles PI aware of what's being collected, how it's being used, where it's being stored, and hopefully how it's being deleted on a retention schedule. And so that privacy awareness is not a static thing. As many of you know, it's a dynamic thing. You need to constantly revisit that process. And people come, people go, you have brand new people, systems change, business purposes change. It's not a static environment, as many of you know, working in the space. So those are kind of the dual roles and responsibilities that these privacy champions on this privacy committee can hold. One, kind of identifying how the data is flowing, and two, helping with your privacy awareness efforts. As many of you know, Data Privacy Day just happened late January every year. It's kind of an opportunity to start out as Data Privacy Day, kind of morphed into Data Privacy Week. And it's a great opportunity, just an opportunity at least once a year, at the beginning of the year, to remind everybody about good data stewardship practices, how the personal information is being collected, used, stored, deleted, etc. So that awareness campaign is really very key. And then importantly, I was talking about how this privacy committee, on their standing agenda, whether they're meeting monthly or whether they're meeting a couple times a month, which would be my recommendation, they're going to want to also look at future uses. So really importantly, successful organizations are undergoing constant change. The new products, new services are being developed. And so if those products or services are going to be capturing and utilizing personal information, it's best to understand that as early as possible in the research and development, the design phase. So if you can have folks, especially if you have an R&D team in your organization, depending on what your business is, and you can get somebody identified that can attend these meetings and let you know what's on the workbench, as it were, that's coming down the line, and get them early on to think about what's going to be collected, and then ask important questions like, does it need to be collected? Do we really need to collect location data? Sometimes engineers think it's cool just to pull that information in because we might need it at some point, not understanding that collecting location data, as an example, can represent more of a risk than a benefit to the organization. If you're collecting location data inappropriately and you're not getting consent, and we just have seen recently the FTC, it's on their radar this year. You want to be very, very careful about the collection of that data, whether it can be linked to individuals, what it's being used for, whether proper consent has been gained, and how safe and secure that data is. So getting a view into future uses, new products, new services, and how they're going to be using personal information is another reason to have these identified privacy champions and this privacy committee meeting on a regular basis in order to understand what's coming down the pike. Because, as is too often the case, and many of you unfortunately have seen, if a product or service is just about ready to get out the door, that is not the time for the folks that are tasked with managing personal information flows to become aware of it. Because trying to figure out things that will get you in legal compliance when a product or service is just about to be launched is not the best time to be doing that. So I think that's about some of the things that we're going to cover here. If you have any questions, as I mentioned before, you can pop those into the chat there. And while I'm waiting to see if we get any questions coming through from the audience, I'll talk about one last piece of setting up a good governance structure within your organization, and that is reporting. Reporting and the collection of metrics is really a key activity for a number of different reasons. One, obviously, you're going to want to track your progress. You're going to want to see how your team, your identified privacy team is doing, whether you can show improvement. both for maturing the team and having it become more effective, but also for reporting out to upper level management. A lot of times, increasingly, boards are wanting to see metrics on certain aspects of the privacy program and how well they're functioning. Unfortunately, there are some challenges with collecting metrics in the privacy program. One of which is one indicator that things are going well is that not much is happening, i.e. there aren't any data breaches going on, and there haven't been any incidents with regards to leakage of personal information flowing where it's not supposed to be going. So proving a negative and saying nothing is going on is sometimes not a great thing to sell, but instead you can talk about privacy awareness campaigns, how many educational events you've done for teams and how you've gotten the word out there, and that the end result of that privacy awareness education can be that it is for it is proving that you do have a solid program in place, in that you haven't had any incidents or notifications from enforcement authorities. And then regarding those privacy awareness educational efforts, if you're wondering how to get people's attention, how to go about that, they're very commonly piggybacking on or tagged along with information security efforts. So kind of hard to find an organization these days that doesn't have information security awareness training as mandatory for employees. And so if that's already going out, that's already designed, it's already scheduled, adding on some elements of privacy awareness to that existing training is oftentimes a really good way to go. So that's about what we have for you today. I hope those of you that have tuned in found some good information in there, maybe a few little tweaks you might make to your existing program, or a good place to start if you're just trying to get your privacy program set up, your governance structure set up at your organization. If you have any questions, love for you to reach out and contact me. We'll put my email address in the chat there, and it's dave.cohen@levelupconsult.com. Love to hear from you. Love to hear your questions even after the program, and be more than happy to do what I can to share further information with you there. So thanks everybody for tuning in and getting this quick foundational talk on setting up a governance structure for your privacy program. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, rest of your week, and a great weekend. Thanks very much. Take care.